Hello, Starseed family. How are you? So, this is a pick a card, and this is Soul Guidance. I did a video very similar to this one a year ago, and I was watching it and again today, and I felt the call to do another one for this time period. So, pick one of these decks, okay, whichever one you feel called to. Please go ahead and pause the video if you have to. Take a deep breath. This is going to be guidance from your soul guidance, okay? Hello, for those of you who picked the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and this Bulbasaur, I believe, is a Jasper, or he might be an adventuring. I'm not sure. It was a gift. Okay, this is your reading. This is going to be soul guidance from your soul. It's going to be an oracle reading because that is how I did the original one, and that is what I want to stick with. Okay, my beautiful work your own light. Okay. So, for those of you who pick this, I'm already getting chills. You might be in hermit mode right now. And I believe it's because you are getting divine downloads as we speak. You are part of the original. I was getting 144, but I don't know what that. Oh my god, I'm flooding with energy. Okay, so your soul is saying that if you've been called to go to the four corners to visit that, if you've been thinking about traveling somewhere, going somewhere, maybe even by yourself. Oh my god, this is coming in really. This is saying, your soul is saying, now's the time. Right now is the time to go to the four corners, to go towards that which you've been waiting on and holding back. For some of you, this is Mount Shasta. For others of you, it's literally just getting together with your soul family for certain downloads and grid work that's necessary right now, light work. For others of you, I'm getting here that you need to start having more conversations with your soul family, start having conversations outside your soul family, start sharing more and more about what it is that you know, even if people are reluctant to listen, even people don't understand, their soul understands. There are keys that we are holding, there are keys that you are holding that are necessary to help others, that you are supposed to hand over to others. So you are being called right now. It's like you're being called to action right now, especially if you've been in your cave, if you've been with yourself, within yourself. Like, especially if you've been feeling like you have been in hermit mode for quite some time, like you've been having to like allow yourself to sort of rest and keep secluded or internal within yourself for quite some time. I'm speaking in terms of like maybe for some of you years, for others of you months, okay, that you've been like kind of like distancing yourself from everyone around you, not just on social media, but also like everyone around you. Okay, let me show you the cards that we got. We got Mintakan, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Let me show you the artwork. And then we have share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, expression. And then we have birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. Oh my god, I am so getting so many chills. This is definitely why I felt called to share, and part of my soul purpose is for me to be this oracle for you. So you are also being called by your soul and your for some of you, the Council of Light. For others of you, it is your team, your soul tribe is calling you in. They're like, hey, what's going on? We haven't heard from you in a minute. Others of you, this is literally a call to action to put in forward and implement your ideas. The time is now. This is why you were born. This is why you're here. Protect. I was just thinking, oh my god, because what I was getting right now is like I was noticing the Bulbasaur and how the Bulbasaur is like, I kept hearing like defenses. Your defenses are up. Like your defenses, keep your defenses up, but like not with the wrong people. Like you're not just putting boundaries up with people that are necessary for you to put boundaries up. You're also putting boundaries up for those who are meant to help you. This is called protection. Call back your power. Cut the cord. Soul retrieval. For some of you, this is actually about walking away from situations, places, or things or perceptions that are no longer positive for you, are no longer of service for you. They no longer serve you at all. For others of you, you've cut the cords. You've already uprooted cords. I always say uproot because it's necessary to uproot cords, not just cut them. You've called back your power. I believe it's more so about calling back your soul aspects of yourself, not power, but more so all these soul fragments. For some of you, this is literally a call to action to call back your soul fragments, because they're necessary. It's necessary. And I was saying, like, this Bulbasaur, one of its defenses is like shooting like leaves out when it's, one of its attacks. So it goes like crazy, this like leaf like twister thing. And I always saw it as a resemblance of, you can have your defenses and still be true to yourself and true to who you are. A lot about sovereignty, sovereign mind, sovereign being, disconnecting from the matrix, which makes a lot of sense. Like if you're also been thinking of like disconnecting from social media, certain social media platforms, now is the time. For others of you, this is about disconnecting from certain groups, certain spiritual groups, or groups that no longer serve you. For those of you who have been contemplating in moving into a new location or relocating, and you have not had the clarity, your soul is saying, yes, we've been needing to move. You need to make the moves. It doesn't matter how much it takes, how much work it takes. You need to make the moves. Yes. Okay. For some of you, this is about going towards a whole new perspective. Acting out from a whole new perspective, coming from a whole new perspective, taking action in a whole new way. Then we have Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? And she's been coming up a lot for some of you. Your soul is saying to connect with your mother's higher self, and that would help you in healing mother wounds. And ancestral, especially if you're doing some ancestral lineage work, shadow work, especially if you've been doing some sort of like repair of the DNA and the lineage in your line, and that's why you were born in that line, because you specifically have been born in that line for many years and decided this is a time to come back in order for you to be able to clear the line fully and completely in a time period which you're able to. Especially if you are feminine or you are a woman, okay? Especially if you have a womb. And to your soul is saying not to forget to mother yourself. As you're connecting with your mother's higher self, whether that mother was there for you or not, whether that mother showed up for you the best way that she could or she didn't, This is asking you to show up for that aspect of yourself, in that aspect of yourself. Hold yourself, nurture yourself, unconditionally care for yourself and love yourself. Show up in that way that you would want and you would have wanted your mother to show up for you. For some of you, I'm sensing here that your soul is saying that there is a balance between always wanting to connect to the stars and a balance of being grounded here on earth, and thinking about the stories that you're telling yourself or you're picking up on as far as this earth, and how do not fall for the narrative, the false narratives that this earth is falling apart, because that is actually attributing to the siphoning of that energy being taken from earth. Earth is alive. It is like a mother, which makes a lot of sense why this mother card is here as well. Earth is part of our mother. Earth is like our mother. Earth, without earth, we wouldn't be able to live or be alive. No matter the origins that you believe in which we came, no matter how you believe this works, this world works, this earth works, earth is still our home. And if you continue dissociating yourself from earth by repeating these narratives or absorbing these narratives, even by religious texts, because there are religious texts that say this earth is not going to be even here in a matter of years, regardless if it's not, even if those texts are real and they're true, and this earth ends up, I have my own perception as to those texts, but if you believe that, even if that were to be true, we don't know if it is, even if it is true, you still must care for your home. Are you going to stay somewhere on a bed where you're not going to care about your bed? Is the same kind of concept. Do you care for your home? Do you take care of yourself the same way you take care of your body? How are you? What is your relationship with Earth? It makes a lot of sense. When it's coming up, it is Earth Week. And even though it is a man-made holiday, it is still energetically imprinted already into the Akashic record aspect of our truth. So that is why it still is impactful and matters for us to have these conversations. Okay. Then we have get grounded, empaths, highly sensitive, connect with nature. Of course, this is a card that comes up while I'm telling you, because your soul wants you to start going hiking again, start connecting to the earth again, okay? And if you haven't yet, maybe find a new group of, like, a new community, or go to a community you already part of that hikes and goes out to nature. Just get more grounded out there in nature by some trees, connect to the ancient wisdom of the earth, because earth is so ancient and she has her own DNA in the sense of her own cellular level kind of memories. So when you connect with earth, which is why when you do some shrooms or you do MDMA, something of that sort, or even weed, you smoke weed, you tend to feel that connection with Mother Earth. You tend to get even more earthy and more connected with Mother, because she is ancient, and at a cellular level she is connected to all of us. If you think about it, Mother Earth has mothered all of our mothers, all of our generations, since the beginning of time here on this earth plane. So your soul is asking you to remember why you're here, to remember that which you already know, you carry within your heart. And again, I keep hearing four corners. So some of you, there might be some activations that can happen, some keys that may be handed to you in the four corners of the four corners here in the United States. For others of you who are not in the United States, if you happen to watch this, I'm not sure if you will, but if you happen to watch this, maybe it's one of you, go to a place where there is water, there are caves, there are these great rock formations, I believe, next to the water. I don't know if you're in maybe Australia or wherever you are. I do believe that whoever this little side message, side note is for, your soul is saying that there is some keys that need to be passed down to you by your own ancestral, generational, um, your soul family, your spiritual team, your divine team, through like water. So go near a body of water, maybe perhaps a certain lake that comes to mind right now that I'm speaking about it. Okay. Now, what else does your soul want to tell you? What else does the soul want to tell you? Work your light. Oracle cards. Who picked? So, there is, don't be afraid to sing. So, a part of you is holding back from expressing yourself, which makes a lot of sense why this card was reversed also. I usually don't read oracles reverse, but I'm going to take the energy from that, and the fact that it landed right out on top of share your voice and birthing a new age. I don't believe it's necessarily to be for it to be seen as a new age. I believe it's more so many of us are ancient, and we have been reborn in the sense of we've been in our family lineage. We are our ancestors. So part of that, of our mission or our purpose here, being born again, is to speak our truths and to share of the wisdom that we carry in our DNA, we carry from so long ago, from ancient times. I mean, some of us have connection to ancient lands that we are not even aware that we do. So this is saying, your soul is saying, like, to share that your song, if you are a singer, that may be part of your purpose for some of you, and that could be part of the expression that is necessary for you to share your gifts. It could even be just your voice in general. You could maybe hit a certain frequency that hasn't been hit before, and it doesn't necessarily have to sound like a perfect frequency that others perceive as the perfect singing voice, but there might be something in the words that you put together or in the key tones of your voice that holds a key to unlocking certain other keys for others, their soul remembrance. Yeah. And I'm getting here that, surround yourself with those who motivate you and uplift you and who believe in you, and not those who don't believe that in any of what you believe in. Like, surround yourself with those who aren't going to think you're crazy for what you believe in or what you see and who you are, because you know who you are. You remember your soul, you remember your heart, and that's why you're here. This is a card about rewriting your story, rewriting your narrative. If you've been so caught up in the 3D aspect of things, in the 3D story of how things happen to you, and being so caught up and attached to those stories, especially of the people who have hurt you in the past, as much as you can accept that and as much as you can see the reality and the truth of it, this is saying not to remain stagnant in that truth, not to remain stagnant there to where you are so attached to that aspect of understanding and accepting that like shit happened and people treated you like crap. You can still alchemize that, and you can still use it for your advantage, in the sense of, like, you can still use it from a more positive perspective. You can still see it from a more positive perspective, in the sense of, like, this is not going to, you are not what happened to you. Don't get so attached to those stories that you perpetuate the victim mentality into the next phase of your life, because that's not why you were born. You are here to change the narrative, and you know this already, and that's why it doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel right for you to continue thinking about certain people or certain situations a certain way. That's not why you're here, and it might not be what other people want from you or what other people expect from you, but it doesn't matter what other people think. That's not the point of your life or your journey. And then we have Princess, you can be your own knight. This is about realizing that you have the capability of taking yourself anywhere your mind desires. And not just desires, but wants and actually needs to. Like for those of you who resonated with the four corner message, like stop waiting for others to go with you or approve of your actions, especially when they are actions being called to forward by your soul. Okay, you have what it takes. You're strong. You are committed. You're courageous. You have the right perception when it comes to what's necessary for you to do, especially when it comes to the decisions that you have to make in order for you to continue your mission or your purpose. And that mission and purpose doesn't have to look like you literally saving people. It literally can be about changing the narrative in your lineage and changing the narrative for yourself and your soul, because that creates a ripple effects for those around you, because they become, like I said, we sometimes hold a key for other people's keys to be activated. And what that means is like your spark can spark others, kind of like if a lighter doesn't have a lighter and you turn one lighter on and the other one isn't turning on, but you spark it and you try to spark it and you have it on, right? And you go like that and it's not on, but you have another one that is, and you kind of match together, the other one will turn it on. In that sense. Okay? Alright, that is what I have for you today for my beautiful pile number 1 or deck number 1 with this Bulbasaur. I hope that you integrate some of the messages that came through for you and that they was necessary. You can go ahead and watch the rest of the video for the next pile. If not, if you're interested in a personal reading for you from your personal perspective for your own self, I do offer some readings right now, and they are in the description below. And thank you for the subscriptions, the likes, and for your comments and all your shares and love. I appreciate you guys tremendously, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, gangsters. Hello! For those of you who chose the Starseed Oracle deck and this Jasper heart, this is your reading. This is your soul guidance and what your soul wants you to rely onto you right now. Okay, let's see what we have for you, your beautiful Starseed. I'm hearing family. I'm hearing the word family. For some of you, you are being called by your soul to connect a little deeper with the divine, or your divine guidance that you have had all your life, who have been around you for a long time. Some of you, this is a motherly energy. This is a Mary Magdalene energy. For others of you, this is like a Jesus energy. For others of you, look, let me show you the cards we got. We have Messenger, Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance. And then we have the Cosmic Heart. And this is Devotion, Potency, make your life a moving prayer. Your soul is, I feel that your soul is asking that you connect a little bit deeper with the aspect of yourself that's like connected to the divine, to start believing again that everything is magical, and to remember how much you believed in magic when you first started this journey and when you first awoke, to go back to the basics. If there was something that sparked in a remembering when in the beginning of your spiritual journey, or this journey of remembering as a starseed, as a soul, to go back to that, to go back to the basics, because that is going to give you a different perspective, because you are going to be looking at it from a different angle now that you've gone through all that you've gone through. and everything that you have experienced, going back to the basics, going back to that initial initiation. For some of you, it could have been a book that you read. For others of you, it could have been a song, a drawing, maybe a situation or event that really sparked. And not to say to stay stagnant in remembering that which happened, but to go back to those feelings which you had at that time. And that's going to help you in understanding how connected everything is, and how you are. It is all interconnected, no matter how it seems. Even the parts that seem like a negative, even the parts that seem like it's like, I don't know, they seem like they created a tower moment for you, catalyst moment. Even those parts are meant to be a whole devotion. Your whole life is a devotion to life, to life force, because that is why we were created. We were created from life force. You know, there's a lot of say, or there's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of theories, and there's a lot of these not really knowing, but knowing also of where we came from. So many books, so many rules. That was weird. There's some bubbles. So many rules, so many books, so many things. But at the end of the day, the truth will always feel like the truth. And that truth will come from a place where we understand that life is important. Life is a miracle. Life is necessary. Life was created and was given to us because it was good. Does that make sense? Like, it is a miracle for us to be alive. I just keep sensing this energy of like, your whole life has been a miracle. Even perhaps your soul is telling you personally, whoever is watching this, that your soul, that you yourself are a miracle. That perhaps the story behind you being born is a miracle. You may have been your mother's answered prayers, or your father's answered prayers, or maybe you were someone else's answered prayers, and you weren't aware that you were someone's answered prayers. And that's why your whole life is that. And this line right here keeps popping up: make your life a moving prayer. It's like the understanding that every single action that we take is important. Your soul is trying to remind you how you know this, how you know that your actions create a ripple effect into the ethers of eternity. Then we have all paths lead home, inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. There's a part of you, I feel, that may have gotten so distracted by this world and society and culture and the stories and the history of your culture, the history of this world, that you forget that, you know, why you're even here to begin with, and that sometimes a part of you misses a home that you're not even sure why. And I think that the best way to connect to that home, wherever that may be, is going within yourself. And I know that's so cliche and, you know, spoken about so much in the sense of go within, but it's like, I think this is more so about the love that you have for others, perhaps the way that you perceive others, like how much you care for others, how beautiful you perceive others to be, the grace that you give others. To your soul is like, give that to yourself too. Like, why do you have a reluctance and a shame to do that? Were you really taught to hate yourself that much that you're not willing to give yourself the same grace that you give others? Let your whole life be a devotion, and a remembrance that we're all walking home. I don't know if you guys saw that. Did you guys see that? The candle? Oh my god, it was also like, it also like kind of like bubbled earlier. So I'm really, and this is my Aries candle, by the way. So for some of you, your spirit team, your guidance, your divine guidance is really pulling through for you as well, not just your soul. Obviously your soul is like your, you know, ultimate guide in the sense of like you're most connected with your soul because that's you. But in your, you know, divine truth, but there's also divinity that comes in forms of your heart space and your soul. Like when you look inwards and when you start to give the grace to yourself the way that you give to others, you become that example of which you can show to others love can be. Then we have water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest, and weight of the world. Boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. Makes sense because I was just getting into the whole thing that this is an Aries candle. And like it has some stuff about Aries here. It says, grab life by the horns and take charge. Aries are known for their fiercely independent and spontaneous spirit and energetic zest for life, both impulsive and adventurous. Aries are natural born leaders and often find themselves in the center of attention. Athletic and active, Aries are always on the hunt. Hard-headed and stubbornly persistent like the ram, Aries are also a fire sign, making them unpredictable yet warm. They are, you know, an Aries will take care of business in the sense of like, an Aries will also be very protective of their loved ones, be overly protective at times. Your soul is very overly protective of you. Your divine guidance is overly protective of you, and that's why they want what's best for you. And it's almost like they're really wanting to call your attention, like, hey, you gotta take care of yourself. Like, you gotta love yourself the way and hold yourself and nurture yourself and look at yourself the way that you see the divinity in others. If you see the miracle in others, why aren't you seeing yourself in your heart and your path as a miracle? There's also maybe perhaps for some of you, your soul is asking that you implement boundaries and you keep your boundaries implemented for some people around you. You know your truth, you know the purpose and the soul purpose that you have, the path. No one else can tell you what that is. That is part of our journey as soul and star beings. That is part of what we have to carry sometimes, is understanding that some others may not always get it, and that's going to have to be okay with us, because we're not alone. That's what we're being reminded, like God or, you know, divinity, whatever it is that you believe in, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, your spirit team, right? Spirit, Holy Spirit, Mother Earth, Mother or Father, Son, whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that you feel is your ultimate guidance, or just your soul, your higher consciousness, they're here for us as well. And they were appointed, is what I feel, to us, to those born here, which are millions of us, by the way. You are not alone, okay? Express yourself. Like, I'm feeling that throat chakra thing. Express your truth, hold steady to your truth without needing to receive validation. Like, it's not to say that you're not going to want validation, but it's more so to remind yourself in those moments that you don't need that validation for your truth to be your truth. You don't need others to believe in what you believe in for it to be real. That's where it is. And then we have water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. I'm feeling for sure that your soul, for some of you, is like, yo, you need a break. You need a break, and you need a break to, like, I don't know, care for yourself, love yourself. If some of you have been thinking about going to a body of water, perhaps a lake, a river, this is definitely calling your attention. For some of you, it's a baptism of some sort. Maybe some of you weren't in a sense like were baptized, and I'm getting that it's not a baptism like in the religious sense of the word, but in a baptism of like a renewal of your spirit from one world, one timeline, one reality into the next one. And I'm getting that your spirit team, especially a very, I don't know, I'm getting a very profound spiritual guidance here for you, very potent. A guide that, like a guidance, like spiritual guide that feels very loving. It feels benevolent, like healing, caring. I mean, it could be creator, God. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, how it feels. It could even be your higher self as well. Or your, I know it's your soul part of what is coming through, but I do feel like there is an energy of a guidance here. And you're very protected and cared for, and they want you to do this sort of like ritual for yourself of like some sort of like baptism, like a baptism to go to the waters, any water that you feel that you can submerge yourself into, whether that's the beach or a lake or a river, okay, and submerge yourself in that water, okay, and affirm that you are renewed in spirit and heart. Because that ritual that was, sort of like, I want to say hijacked from men and people who didn't know any better, is actually a very profound ritual, a very profound transitioning kind of like symbolic ritual. And I say ritual because I don't know the word for it other than to say ritual, because it is kind of like a ritual if you think about it. Baptisms. But however you say it, the word doesn't really matter. It's the energy behind it. To look at it from a different point of view, your soul is really feeling like you need maybe even spring water, so like a spring even. Some of you, this is literally a river or a lake. I'm getting it's a river. It could be a river more than anything, because it feels like a renewal of water and spirit. Like I'm seeing like a river, like a big river. And if you've been thinking about traveling somewhere, wherever you may go, there you may come across a river, and your soul is guiding you and asking you to kind of do this ritual for yourself, to do this as a form of like symbolic transformation from one aspect of reality in your life to another. I don't know what that was about, but it really felt very profound. And then we have fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life. If you see this again, another like water, but this is like a cave, and there's like a mother holding the baby. Okay, very much gives me the same energy about this like cosmic heart and this water here, surrounded by like nature and surrounded by divine and spiritual guidance, and just connecting to that part of yourself that you've been forgetting to nurture. It's like I can hear you neglect. You're neglecting yourself. You're neglecting yourself, and you're neglecting the parts of you that require like spiritual renewal, like a spiritual. You may have been going through a spiritual upheaval, and you might require like a spiritual cleanse, and maybe that's part of what why I keep feeling like this ritual aspect of things, of like having a baptism for yourself is very important. It could be a sort of spiritual cleanse that your spirit teams actually want to guide you to help you through, especially if you feel like you've been holding on to a lot of like energy that is not your own. Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Yes, a deep transformation, a renewal of spirit, a change of dynamic, of perspectives, of relationships, of connections, of the way that you perceive your own self and your connection to yourself and divinity. You're being led back home, and home starts by understanding that it resides within your heart. That key to open that door to home is there within your soul. That's what Jesus was here for, to remind us of our key. It makes so much sense, like to remind us of our key, and how that key is a direct connection to source, to God. And that's why I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to me. No one comes to God but through me. It's like the key is through, not outside, not external. The key is through the soul. The key is through connection, is through divinity, through devotion of like your whole life to prayer, to your whole life being a prayer. And I do believe that there were so many misconceptions when it came to this message that was being brought onto our world. Maybe perhaps some of you, this is part of the message that you are meant to spread and share, and you need that spiritual renewal to help spread that message and help others understand that story, the true story behind everything that was hidden from us by men, by those who did not want to see divinity flourish, who were themselves neglected, who were themselves unable to see the divinity in the words that Jesus actually was bringing to us. But there wasn't a lot of like understanding of the soul aspect of things at that time. And I think though that it was all meant to happen. Like his story is a story that goes beyond years, and like, you know, is still alive, and so much controversy around it, because it was meant for that to be that way. And you know how they say like there's no mistakes in the way that God works? I do believe that's to be true. Like I believe that humans, we make mistakes, and as humans, there is human greediness and fleshly greediness, in the sense of there's nothing wrong with being connected to your flesh and your body, don't get me wrong, that's not at all what I mean. There is a balance, there is a connection there from our bodies and our spirit that requires nurturance, that requires us to have that key connection and that remembrance, and living our lives like that. That is important, like they are important. Living our lives like we are a prayer, like our life is a prayer, with devotion, with care, with love for others, love for our neighbors, not being so selfish and needing to like be right and playing into the games and the dramatics of the earth plane, and the way that others want it, like greedy men and energies and entities and lower energies that have fallen away from the light and creation and life force, and who don't have their own life force. And so they try to contaminate and twist the reality and truth behind everything. But in actuality, we know the truth. We know our divine placement, because that's why some of us were sent here, not in the same way, but some of us were sent here to remind others of the soul connection to creator, to divine, and to that which is everything that is one. You know, that's why the waters are so important, because water is such a divine nurturing essence of this earth. It is literally the life force of earth. And going into that ritual, and this is why that ritual was, you know, taken, because it's a powerful way of cleansing your spirit. Wow, like this is new. This is like coming to me too. Like I'm literally learning this as it's coming through from your soul. It's like your soul wants my soul to know, and wants your soul to know, and whoever watches this. And it might be very necessary for healing. There might be some healing that happens in this moment, because it definitely is helping me a lot right now. And I've been getting chills this whole time I've been doing this reading. Your soul loves you very, very much. And star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. Yes. Surrender. I keep looking at this card. It says surrender, holding the opposites extremes of life. So yes, you might have experienced some stuff that were extreme, and God, you know, your soul wants you to know that it was not for nothing. Thank you for those of you who said bless you. It was not for nothing. It was not for nothing. You are not alone. You're not alone. And when you devote your life as a prayer, and remembering why you're here, and you give yourself the space and the room to be who you are and who you were meant to always be, who you've always been, you're giving a chance for your soul to really shine bright. And that sparks divinity in other areas of your life. Because when you see your own soul as divinity, as you see your own life as a miracle, and you see yourself of being able to be of service to others in that way, then you are aware of your actions. You pay attention to what you're going to say and what you're going to do. You become even more connected to what is important in this lifetime and in this timeline and reality than what you have been conditioned or have been programmed to believe. We all have been conditioned and programmed to believe otherwise, because we were born into it as a child. But that is why our soul's potency and why this divine guidance is here for us, and why these tools have shown up for us, why they are being used at this time as well. Maybe you have sometimes a part of you that doesn't want to accept this kind of tool, but honestly, it's just part of that which is meant to happen in order to remind us of our authenticity, remind us of our truth, and to look of our purity beyond the conditions and that which has been put upon us, all like above all the layers, like all these layers have been placed on us to remember our divinity, to remember where we came from and who we are, and that the earth is very much a part of that there's no necessity to disconnect from the earth itself, not necessarily about the world and society. That probably is something that is a necessity for you to disconnect from, but not from earth, because earth was placed here as a mother for us in order for us to be able to heal. That is why baptisms are so potent, and why maybe perhaps if you feel called to, it's necessary for you to get a spiritual cleansing that is really deep and nourishing of your soul at a soul level. I feel like I should leave it at that. I'm not going to pull any of the other cards because that felt very potent in itself. And I already went over the time that I had. So if you like my style of reading for your own personal reading, that could be very much like this one, but for you personally, I have all the information below in the description below, or you can just stick around and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna sneeze again. Oh my goodness. Oh, so yeah, definitely being thought of and cared for very, very much right now. My beautiful second pile, that whoever's watching this, you're loved very much. So much. Okay? And you're going through a deep transformation for some of you. And that's why whatever is happening in your life right now, this is happening. Surrender to the alchemy of life. You're not alone. And this is only cracking you open to reveal that which you have always been. And falling off of the layers, it's gonna hurt when the layers are coming off of all that which you are not. But it's all for good reason and good, and it's a miracle that you are here. Don't ever think that your life doesn't mean anything. You mean so much. Okay, if you like my style of reading again, I hope that this finds you well. I love you, and yeah, thank you for your likes, shares, and your subscriptions. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, gangsters.